Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. My name is Sarita. Thanks for joining me. I have one Homeworx candle for you today, and the candle in question is Golden Bamboo. And I was so lucky as to get it in this gorgeous kind of, I don't know, lime green glass vessel. They do not have rubber gaskets, so you do get a great deal of, slipping around with the glass a little bit there. I got this one from TJ Maxx or Marshall's, one or the other, probably around like Christmas time or like no, I think it was Christmas time, because they were all in those like gorgeous gift boxes, right? So they had this one, they had the sparkling grapefruit, they had Suede Rose, I think, was another one. And there may have been another one too. I can't remember. Maybe one of the Gourmands, not sure. And I think they were coming in, well, at my stores, they were $16.99. So there was like basically no price difference between this and just a regular Homeworx candle, which is a little absurd. It should probably have been a little bit more of an upcharge, especially for the gift box. Golden Bamboo, I ended up, as you know, getting the sparkling grapefruit over any of the other ones. Golden Bamboo was one that I smelled and I wasn't really sure that I loved, but then somebody bought one and returned it without the box, and so they marked it down to $12.99. Otherwise, obviously unburned, and I thought, well, gosh, for $12.99, I'll definitely try Golden Bamboo. And I read somewhere that this is one of Harry Slatkin's favorite fragrances, possibly. I think I read that somewhere, so it has that distinction as well, and I was kind of intrigued by it. So I burned this one all the way down to the wick clips, and as you can tell, they all kind of migrated into the center. I noticed in the last like 3 or 4 burns, somehow the wicks came unhinged from the bottom of the jar and were kind of like floating around. For the most part, once you blew it out, they would all kind of congregate into the center, which was fine and which was nice and certainly wasn't a safety concern. And it really only happened in like the final like 3 burns maybe. Burned absolutely fine, great, no sooting. There's a good amount of soy smut around, which I'm thinking there's a great deal of soy in this candle, to be perfectly honest. It did not have good strength and throw. I'm not gonna like bury the lead on that. Let's talk about the fragrance. The fragrance notes are kind of weird. So the fragrance notes are fresh bamboo, pink jasmine petals, bergamot leaves, and green woods. So on paper, you're looking at a perfume at least. But the fresh bamboo and the green woods are kind of wild card notes, because from what I know, bamboo doesn't have like a very pronounced fragrance. It's kind of a fantasy note. And then green woods, I mean, you'd expect something kind of botanically green and something woody, but you just never know quite what that note is going to smell like, what it's going to project as, etc. Pink jasmine, you know that it's going to be a white floral. I would read off the pink. Bergamot leaves is going to give you a citrusy kind of note. And bergamot is usually one of those inclusions in like a profile for colognes or perfumes. On paper, it looks like it's a very green candle, and I think that that's also furthered by the presentation, which is also green, although the name of the candle is Golden Bamboo. And looking at it, I'm not exactly sure what the golden is supposed to signify. I do think Golden Bamboo is actually a species. It's one of the species of bamboo. But I don't know that it really signifies anything other than a fantasy note here. So then the question would be, what is the fantasy? What is the golden? Possibly the bergamot, but bergamot is a green citrus similar to a lime. So I found out actually the Golden Bamboo is the name of a fragrance that's very popular and is used in many very high-end hotels and hotel lobbies, including like the Trump conglomerate, and also Hilton, I believe. Golden Bamboo is kind of like a signature fragrance in many of those hotels. I have not experienced it, so I can't speak to it. But when I was looking at the notes for it, it was a lot of florals. I think rose was in there as well. So I don't think that Harry Slatkin has necessarily duped any of that here. I guess for me personally, I'm not getting hardly any of these notes. Certainly when I smelled it the first time, and even now. So when I think of bamboo candle, and maybe I'm just associating to certain bamboo candles that I have had in the past, a bamboo candle, and I guess I'm thinking of like Mosu bamboo from Voluspa, or there's like a black bamboo, I think from Village Candle. The bamboo candles that I have smelled lean more austere. They tend to lean more like spa-like and or more masculine. So a lot more like musk and a lot of like just kind of masculine leaning rugged vibes. This is not that at all. This is a feminine perfume. It's a perfume candle and it's fairly feminine. It's a lot of floral and it's kind of an ambery perfume vibe. Ambery would go with the golden part of it, although it's not listed, that note is not listed here, but I would say amber and white floral. Is it what I would call a green floral? Possibly, possibly. So a green floral for me is a floral that has some sort of nuanced green elements to it, often like leaves, stems, anything kind of vaguely botanically green. And the green tends to kind of cut some of the high pollen, like floral sweetness. It tends to cut it down a little bit and present a more well-rounded kind of botanical floral experience. So generally speaking, I prefer green florals to just like straight up florals, right? Especially if they have a rather pronounced green aspect to it. If this is a green floral, it's not a pronounced green. It's not a pronounced green. There is something that's vaguely fresh and kind of clean about it. I don't know if it goes full-fledged soapy, but it's definitely kind of in that almost kind of aloe green kind of direction. But mostly it's the white floral, and I believe that it probably is jasmine with one caveat, which is that this candle, especially once it was burned for hours, started giving off a very strong honey smell to it, as in like a syrup, honey, yeah, like the bees. Very strong honey. And even when I smell it, I'm getting a little bit of honey too, just on cold, which is making me think that there might be honeysuckle in it. It might be a honeysuckle candle. I do think there is enough strong kind of jasmine-ish white floral, but with the honey nuance kind of takes it in a honeysuckle direction, yeah? I would say for the first like 3 to 4 hours, and this because this candle burns so well, no sooting, like anything like that, this is a candle that you can burn for 12 hours. Like easy, which is what makes it a great like hotel lobby kind of candle, because you can definitely set this and forget about it. And I have to say that for me, the strongest elements of the candle only came out after about the fourth or fifth hour of burning it. When we got into the 5th hour of burning, it really came into its own. But at that point, overwhelmed by this really deep, rich, perfumey honey smell and it almost overwhelmed even the white floral, even the jasmine, right? And it was a thing. Now, if you don't love perfumes and you don't like honey, I don't think you would like this. But there are so few like really successful honey candles, and I kind of appreciate that it was giving a really gorgeous, deep, like I was about to say resinous. Is it resinous? Kind of, I guess. So is amber. So think like amber honey. And I actually think that if you think amber and honey along with the floral, it makes a little bit more sense of the golden adjective there. Bamboo, I'm just not getting at all. I'm not getting anything spa-like, really. I'm not getting anything woodsy. I'm not getting anything masculine. I mean, this is just not a masculine candle. It's not a rugged candle. It's not a woodsy candle. It's really not even that much of a green candle. What it is a perfume, white floral conceptual with honeyed nuances that come out especially strong after several hours of burning it. And I did notice that like in the last third of the candle, even within the first hour, I was starting to get the honey, which makes me think that it might be kind of like a heat thing. I don't know if the like fragrance, once it reaches a certain kind of heat level or something like that, it kind of like goes in that strong perfumey honey kind of direction. And toward the end, it was just kind of there. You didn't even have to burn it for several hours for it to kind of come forward. I think if you like honey, if you like honeysuckle, if you like white florals and you don't mind a perfumey candle, this is your candle. I really do. That said, for me, especially with the green, I was expecting something at least more overtly green botanical, if not a little bit more austere, if not a little bit masculine. And it is just none of those things. It's really not. It's really not. It's a honeysuckle candle. This didn't do particularly well in terms of strength and throw. In the open concept, and it stayed in the Hurricane the entire time, in the open concept, I could get about a 4 out of it, a 4.5. I don't know that I got a whole lot more from it, unless and until I burned it past the 5-hour mark. And then at the 5-hour mark, I started getting a very deep, rich honey perfume along with that white floral. And that was actually quite nice. And there were moments, especially in the second half of the candle, where I was getting in my space up to a 7. I could get up to a 7. Now that's with the Hurricane, admittedly, but a 7 in the open concept once it got to that layer, to that level where it was honeyed and it was perfumed. So just know that this candle is possible. It is possible for it to get a strength and throw that is significantly more than what it initially seems to be giving, which is in the 4 to 5 range of just kind of a very faint and rather anemic white floral kind of smell. And I think the bergamot leaves are definitely what is providing it a little bit more brightness and freshness. And in that sense, although it does not smell like orange blossom, it kind of heads in that direction a little bit, in that it's kind of like a bright, forward, citrusy white floral. But this one has a significant like perfuminess about it, and partly that comes from the jasmine or whatever white floral is being used there. But like I said, what was kind of the surprise was hitting that honey. It was like digging, and then it like broke through to the honey layer, and the honey layer was great. And upon smelling it cold now, I do kind of smell some honey dimension, but it really comes out in a forte kind of way, fortissima, once it is burned for many, many hours, which is what makes me think of honeysuckle, but I don't actually know if there's honeysuckle in it. So this was just kind of a weird one, in that I don't think that the notes are really very indicative of what it is that this candle is. And it has some potential. For me, it's just not executing the right way. And I can't say that I'm a huge floral person, so I don't know that this is my candle. I wouldn't repurchase it. But like I said, I think that if you like kind of honeyed fragrances, if you like honeysuckle, if you like white florals and white floral conceptuals, pretty much in the genre of most of the candles we've been seeing from Bath and Body Works over the last like quarter year, then I think you would really like it. But I would adjust your expectations about strength and throw, and ideally burn it at a time when you're able to let it go for 5 hours or 6 hours or 7 hours or whatever else it is. I think you'll be rewarded the longer that you burn it. And the very positive thing is that it burned like a dream and there was no sooting or anything like ridiculous. So it definitely is a candle that can burn for 10 hours. No problem. No problem at all. And even burning it very long and hot like that, it still took a while to get through the candle. So it's not a fast burn either, in that respect. If you like, you might want something that, think of like a hotel lobby, to be perfectly honest. It's that kind of a candle. Yeah, it's just not, for me, it doesn't have a powerful enough presence, at least until it gets to that honey point. So there you go. Golden Bamboo from Harry Slatkin. I get the sense that it's been it's had a good presence in the catalog, I think, for Harry Slatkin for a long time, even if it's not, as I thought I read somewhere, one of his favorite fragrances. So it's been around, it's going to be around. And I was actually kind of surprised when I was doing a little bit of research that there weren't really that many reviews of it. So there definitely should be, because I think this one comes around quite a bit. And I also think that the marketing, the naming, and even the fragrance notes that are listed are a little bit misleading. So I hope that this review is helpful on a certain level. I'm happy that I bought it for $12.99. I don't know that I would buy it for a whole lot more, at least unless it was stronger. Yeah. Also, I do tend to go a little bit more masculine, a little bit more green, and so in that sense, it was a little bit of a disappointment. But those are my expectations, and those are also my scent preferences. So obviously, your mileage may vary. I'll link all the information down here if it is available, and it probably should be. And definitely always look out for any such bargains at TJ Maxx and Marshalls. And I'll catch you in the next one.